welcome to Asake Online. My name is Lesley Moyo. The name of the program is Fix My City. We focus on service delivery issues affecting the city of Bulawayo. In this week's program, we focus on the Bulawayo City Council billing system. The issue was quite topical in the full council meeting earlier this month, where councillors raised concerns that residents in the city were receiving high water bills. Let's get to hear more from the councillors speaking about this issue.
For instance, example, day one in young, to have charge about 20,000. Tina Stacy was a billion was I'm a billion to me like 4,000, 4.5. But now I told her day one in charge 20,000. And the way I teach a teacher is I'm going to say, who look at the but now I can't go to be motivated to be able to pattern. So when Kela Kulu, who committed Arab. That this kind of living system. Mobile to be to a full butter. What do I need to butter the Pelinta see you in daily call? So, still at this point, say the Kunapa, I want to be charged Malaysia. They are my charge.
Let us not take too long to send our water bills. I know COVID once affected us where bills were not coming easily. And when residents receive the bill on the 4th month, we say, the other issue is that just yesterday, I had a resident who came with an account which is a negative of about $6.25. Right? But then last month, Councillor, I had a negative of $6.25. Now I'm building $35,000. So there is something, I do agree, there is something wrong. We need to perfect whatever is going wrong. So that we are kutaza la pisa kamisi kuti zinjani zibhadala. Ngoba isakamisi ngahle si receive bills discourage. Then we are in trouble. Tina vele our covers are ailing.
Issue air billing, Chairman of Finance. Maybe you need a workshop, your committee, or maybe the department itself. It's a maybe people are investigations, because this issue of billing, or maybe the department is not even taking my problems as my residents about the fake billings which they are doing. Please, now battle is squared. Kumnande ofuna uthi usiqede kodwa ubone wena isquared lesana sibuye sisitimes by 3. In fact, kuma issues enhlanganela ukuwathi those abalentshukuntshu yokuthi babhadele ama-bills abapheli angayiqeda esephenduka ibill yayo esebuya not the 4,000 eyaphasayo kubudget or so kuyabe sekuyi-20,000. Lokwana kuyabise abantu emuva ababe befuna ukuthi baclear izikweleti zawo. Chairman we-Finance, sicela the issue of billing maybe ngalifuna the whole day ukuthi lizedinga umuntu ongalungisa le machine ukuthi ingayenzi fake billings. Please do that. Otherwise, abantu bafuna ukubhadala but nxa kuyabuya isikweleti singasazi wasisebenzisa wena, it's not good. Siyacela Chairman we-Finance, the issue of billing is not starting today. I'm sure you are going to stop it. Ukuthi kungabhilwa into engasiyo. Ngiyabonga Chairman.
We also went around the city of Bulawayo and spoke to some residents who shared their experiences with receiving these high water bills. The residents said that whilst they have been religiously paying their bills every month, they were shocked to receive such high bills, and they appealed to the local authority to fix their billing system. They also appealed to council to ensure that their personnel come every month to take their meter readings, so that they don't have to be burdened with going to the revenue hall every month to take their water meter readings. Let's get to hear more from the residents themselves.
At first, it came as through my mother's phone. They came a bill of 24,000 something on the phone. So it shocked us at first. How can a bill be 24,000? Then we went to the city council. They told us no, there might be water leakage and so forth. They told us to bring a meter number for the next month, which was between the 24th and the 27th. So I did so. I went to get a city council there, and then when I gave them the meter reading, and on the next month statement, the reflection of the meter reading was a bit, it was low. It tended to be 7,000. So when I went to the city council trying to clear that 7,000, I was shocked to find that the bill had escalated from 7,000 plus the 24, which was the previous one. It now risen to about 57,000. So I queried about the bill with the city council guys. Then they told me no, there might be leakages and so forth of water. I was like, no, even if there are leakages, they can't be leakages of this magnitude. So, and they're like, I know what I can easily do for them is to bring meter readings every month, between the 24th and the 27th. Every month I call them, or I go to Tower Block, or bring it to get a revenue hall so they can process my water bills as I need them. So I'm still doing that, and I'm waiting for this month bill so that I can see if there going to be any changes. So they just told me no, if there are any errors, the city council is going to rectify the errors. So I'm just waiting if they are going to rectify this 50,000 balance which is there. Otherwise, our bill we never used to owe city. Our bills used to be at zero. That's what we used to do. We keep up to date with the city council, but we were just shocked to see the bills ballooning as far as 60,000. 50s. And we realized when we were asking our neighbors, we realized no, it's not us only the only one affected. So many of the people are affected. So we thought no, the city council is going to table it down and they're going to rectify the meter.
Okay, but is it a good arrangement for you to be going there every month and calling them?
Yeah, it's definitely not. But at times you need to, when you need things done, our systems, at times they are weak. So at times you need to be on top of the situation so that things can get going, you see. So at times maybe you're assisting them, or also I'm also assisting myself, because if this bill continues, it will balloon to a point whereby it cannot be paid, and it will create problems between us and the city council now.
But are you able to pay such an amount for water, considering that maybe you'll be noting the amount of water you use every month?
I can assure you that these bills, they are far beyond the reach of many. I'm not the one who pays the bills. I help my mom to pay the bills. But putting my mom there, myself, and my other sisters, this is far beyond the reach. We can't even pay up the amount that they're demanding. So I don't know, maybe they are going to work out something, or they're going to bring a method of bringing down these bills to normals.
When was the last time a person from the city council came to check your meter reading?
It was in January. That's when they last came. So when I went there, they went through their system. So I realized that February they used an estimate. And so that's why they told me in March to bring a meter reading. And when I brought the meter reading, the bill was a bit normal. That's why it changed to be 7,000. So in April, they didn't bring anyone to come and check the meter. The bill ballooned again. And then, which means they said they used an estimate. So we realized that no, maybe these estimates are the ones which are making our bills go up. So this month, I've taken another meter reading to them. So they said I can do this for the next coming 12 months, which is the arrangement that they've told us to do so. So we are just trying to see if this thing can be reverted back to no mouse also.
So basically, you're now employed by the council to take care on meter reading.
Yeah, basically, that's what it means. Yeah, and at times you have to call them. At times you won't be having airtime. At times you call them and it's through the switchboard. You have to wait for them to connect you to the meter readings office. It takes about 2 minutes. Then it's just narrating your story. They take your meter reading. They tell you, no, thank you. Please do so next month. It's not the way to do it. I thought maybe they should employ some people who can go around checking this. And at times when they bring these guys, at times you might find they don't even go into the houses. They just, when he knocks the gate, he leaves. It's just when they find the gate locked, instead of trying to get access to the houses. Like my house, they usually skip it. Maybe we are far. You might not hear someone knocking. Somebody scared, maybe there's a dog or whatever. So he just decides to skip and goes next door. You find there's next door, maybe he just checks what he wants and he skips houses. So where they don't go, they use estimates, which is a very big challenge.
And what do you want? How do you want this issue addressed? And what is maybe your message to the city council in terms of this issue?
It's I think they have to revert back to their old ways. But one thing that I realized, what the challenge that the council might be doing is because these guys who are doing meter readings, they are subcontracting these guys. These are just guys from college. They just give them maybe they pick them randomly. We want you to do meter readings. These guys, they know that it's a contract. It's 1 month. I don't know how many months they have. But these guys, I suspect, maybe that's because they don't have a contract with city council, or they don't have, previously they used to use their employers to take meter readings. So these guys, they just want money. They just do what they want, and after they know that they're going to be paid their money, and they leave. Whether the meter readings were wrong or right, they don't care. So that's where maybe the problem is. They have to revert back to maybe where they take their I used to see old guys used to come with BCC uniforms. We knew that they were contracted. They are coming from the city council straight, and they were doing and they were taxed when when there's a wrong meter, they'll be taxed. No, there's a problem. That you do and they'll know that they are held responsible for that. But these ones were, you can't follow somebody who was on a contract last month. That you've paid me, so there's nothing to worry about. So I think that's where the problem is now.
Shirley, uhlupho is we had a bill a 5.2 something. Then sapatala through 1 month. Sapatala a 6,000, which means we had cleared the bill. The previous bill again, clear minus 300. So we are catchable sapatala because arranger within that. I paid beginning of this week. Then that's when we were told that our bill is now 26,000. So then from there, same issue. Check your meter reading. Don't you have any leakages? All that.
But as a resident, how the problem considering the clear but must be billing.
It's very discouraging because siyazama in the previous years, I think the city council now, they're still being awed by the residents. But siyazama, the few when labazama uthi clear, nxa saying 20,000, then I think we might as well not pay.
And what do you want the council to do, considering that they are shortchanging our residents?
I think they should carry on with the monthly meter reading. Whether there are people there or not, recently they were coming with some devices or it's phones or what, then they just scan. But they're not consistent. This month they come, the next 2 months they don't come. I think they should be consistent with their meter readings. And then the moment they come for meter reading, if there is anything wrong around the meter, they should let us know and advise. Then the residents take the relevant measures to correct whatever issues will be there.
But have you tried maybe to engage your representatives, the councillor, to try and also understand this issue?
No, we haven't. It's just amongst us neighbors. We haven't engaged any local leadership.
Maybe so 4 years or 6 to 4 years khona imitha iyavuza.
So it's a lignanze lohlupho la senza.
saripota babuya bazokhangela besithi bazalungisa kwakuyisikhathi kufakwa amamitha lawa amatsha amarabha lawa base besithi bazabuya bezofaka but ababuya ngabazofaka so
njengoba sithi yavuza ibhiliyoni yamanzi iphezulu njengoba amanzi ahlale evuza.
hayi ambona ukuthi kuya affecta ngoba kuyabe kungakafiki kulokhu zeni kuvuza kupipe.
So nxa liphuma lithiya lenze njani kwenze thema?
Siyavala vele asisebenzisa ithephu siyafila izinto.
So belifisa ukuthi kulungise njani kwenze ukuthi lani likhululeke ekuphileni?
Asasibatshele ukuthi babuye bazolungisa manje njengoba nabengakabuyi asazi ukuthi singancediswa njani ngoba yibo kumele babuye bezoyenza kulamuntu ongabe ezonusela phela into ze-council.
Hayi ngingatsho nje ngithi lusilimazile uhlupho lwamanzi futhi inkinga ekhona abuya njalo amanzi angikhona siwabhadala kahle asilanyanga esiyeqayo akula ngichivini imali ibuya iphepha siyahamba siyeclear kungabi la lutho i-city council kushoyi kuyaletha kuyi00 ngoba siyabhadala sidouble siyabhadala la next month ngoba asisebenzi khonokho oyabe ukuhlanganisile yikho yakumele ukuthi uhluye kufaka ubalekela isikweleti kodwa simangele nxa sokubuya ama 20,000 i20,000 bond yangona ule ukuthi yayitatanga akunjele nxa ukhulunywa nge20,000 bond imali masingayi lokhu zasithi imalini uhleli ka usebenzi so masho kuyi 20,000 yangikhona le inyanga ezayo ke imalini ngezindlela ujansi kuyabu 100,000 mina ngisebenzi baba kasebenza isihlezi nje singabantu so ukuthi i-city council lapha izamani vela sikwazi lobi ifake abantu abangazi ngomsebenzi asikwazi uma kuyikuthi ifake abantu abangazi umsebenzi ayisheshe masinyane ilungisusa udaba lwayo ngoba sokusilimazile thina singeke siyebhadala lezi izimali futhi singeke sizibhadala asilazo vele soze sizibhadale vele into engikutshelayo engingayikhuluma nje ukuthi kungcono abekwazi ugovernment ukuthi asoze siyibhadale ngoba kasilayo ngaphandle thatha inyathelo yena kube le plan angayenza sihambile lokuya inquiry kwathiwa lizathi selibuya lize checka libona ukuthi kuyabe sokuhambe njani so ukuthi kuyabe kuhambe njani sikwazi loba enqeba akhupha lokuzeni okuyi$2 phezu kwe 20,000 isale lokimili njalo yabo
kodwa laba ababala amamitha la babone lagcina mhlawumbe
mina ngiyama ngifuna ukukhuluma amanga ukuthi ngabagcina nini mina ngikwazi ukuthi futhi isikhathi lesi bengingekho kodwa baba wayekhuluma ethi sokulebanga kazi akababona azakababona wathi sekhuluma ngakho abanye bathi engxe emdala kulenja inja le ihlala lezituhwana ihlali labantu njalo ukuze sifake inja sifakela amasela yiwe siwafakela izinja asiwafakela la kudala lemuva izinja zazivele zikhona kodwa abemitha bengena afika chaya igedi umuntu wemitha ngimngenisa abuye athatha imitha akahambe laba sebefika bame ngaphandle bathi kulenja azibhalele okwakho kwengqondweni ukuthatha ngaphi khonoko ukuthatha ngezindlela izinto abazibhala ngengqondo uthi lapha kulenja njalo kulenja kunjalo akuhlali kungalamuntu kuhlala abantu kungena abantu andilani lingenile why iluma be city council bodwa indaba iluma be city council bodwa izinto zamanga lezi thina le imali asilayo vela soze safa sayibhadala ayimboni sibili ukuthi singayibhadala le city council liyamanga ngitsho asilayo asisebenzi ukudla ukuthi udle ukuthi kube lo muntu okuncedayo okusizayo ngapha usuza kuyakhuphana nama 20,000 yankhona ayithatha vele kahle kahle nje umuntu olengqondo kumele uzibonele nje la ukuthi nxa ubhala 20,000 eyamanzi la manzi kade kanjani abuya kade sabe city council afakweni kahle kahle azamangalise kangaka asilampompe evuzayo ukuthi mbe singathi impompi ziyavuza azivuzi kodwa sengikhanya sesiyabhadala iphepha le 20,000 ngenyanga eyi1 omele ngiyibhadala somele ngimanje siyabhadala ngihlangane le mali ye 20,000 ngingazange ngibe leskorede akuzwakala into kwangikhona lokho kumele bake bakuzamela iplan akuzanyelwa iplan ngoba kathesi iplan thina siselayo ngathi udala usithi ungathi mbekulana city council sesibuthana sesisiyagida gida phambi kwe city council kathesi asilali ithuba lona lelo lokuyagida phambili asiselali ithuba lona lelo lokuyagida phambili siyacela ke abakurukuru bangikhona basilungisele abakurukuru basilungisele basizwele futhi bakwazi ukuthi kulabantu abangasebenziyo kulentandane esihlala lazo la abafelwa ngabazali abafanana lathi futhi abangasebenziyo bayithathe ngaphi imali le masho kuyabuya ama 20,000 ama 30,000 umntwana lo abantwana labo bayithathe ngaphi akulabantu phela ababasupply ngokudla lokho akukorokozileyo ukorokozela ukuthadla kodwa susiyahlangana le 20,000 yakubona kunzima okuyisimo esihlangana lapho uncedo siyaludinga usizo siyaludinga kakhulu komile kome kudleni kome yonke into kome esikolo kodwa wona suzathi amanzi into ade singayikhumbuleli usiyabhadala ama 20 30 40 50 aha ubakithi haya kodwa kunye lakho kunye kumele lathi ke sicabange singabantu lezi izinto phela omunye umuntu isikhathi esiningi wenza into ekhangele la esikhwameni sakhe yabona ungathi usenza into yakho ukhangele esikhwameni sakho ungakhangeleli kwesomunye umuntu uyakufaka ngengqondo yakho nje uyakufaka kodwa ungaba umuntu ocabangayo ukuthi ya esami isikhwama siyafudumala kodwa mhlawumbe next door kayihlanga yabo mhlawumbe next door kayihlanga ube ngumuntu olozwelo labantu
The challenge that the residents are facing concerning the bills started last year, because that's when most of the residents were starting to query the amounts that they were receiving in their bills. The issue started in Popoma, that is what 9, when some residents raised the issue of high bills compared to what they were expecting. And the response that they were getting is that it was during COVID-19 lockdown. Hence, some of the months there were no statements that were issued because of the lockdown regulations. But then after that, the residents continued to raise the issue, saying even if they go to PCC or to revenue to correct that, their bills were not being corrected. And of late, we have heard the councillors themselves raising the concerns on behalf of their respective wards, meaning that the problem is now widespread. And when we are engaging the councillors, they will tell you that the billing system that is being used. I think they are now using some sort of geographical information systems, GIS, where the meter readers in some instances don't get into the yard, but they just stand outside and they try to pick the coordinates of the meter. So we suspect that's where the problem is, because in the past I think the meter readers would take the meter for this month in relation to what was obtained last month. But I don't know what is happening with the digital world. Maybe it's starting from zero to what the meter is already reading. For instance, if your meter maybe is showing that you have used maybe, for instance, 3 kiloliters or 30 kiloliters of water from, let's say, last year, August, it will simply read as if you have never paid from that particular month of August last year up to today. So someone who is working at BCC tried to explain it like that. It was his assumption, but I'm not saying what that's the fact. So as residents of Bulawayo, we are very much concerned because the billing system is not reflecting what the residents are owing. And we call upon Bulawayo City Council to quickly rectify that, because if they continue billing us like that, then at the end of the day, as the residents, we will stop paying the bills, because it doesn't make sense for you to try and cycle or to clear a bill of 20,000 or 30,000 only to receive another bill of 60,000 in the following month. So it will be a futile exercise to do that. So as Bulawayo Progressive Residents Association, at the end of the day, we may end up calling residents to stop paying if they continue receiving such high bills until the problem is rectified, because it doesn't make sense for one to continue paying bills and then at the end of the day, the other end, the service provider, doesn't rectify the challenges that the residents are raising. So what we are simply saying is that in most western suburbs, the bills are ranging from 3,400, I think, to about 4,000 to 5,000. So if anyone receives any amount that is higher than that, then they should just ignore that. And of course, keep on taking their readings. But on average, that's what we are supposed to be paying on a monthly basis. On average, it's supposed to be 3,500 because where I stay, that's what we are paying. And if you receive anything higher than that, then it shows there's an anomaly. Because last year, the bills were around 1,000 and something. So even if you didn't pay anything last year, excluding the charges that may have been affected, we are expecting an individual to be owing something like 15,000 for the whole year last year, or 16,000, something like that, but not 20,000 for 1 month. No, it can't be. So we are urging the Bulawayo City Council to take the issue seriously before the residents boycott the payment. Because it doesn't make sense to raise the issue and then the guys who are billing there don't attend to those issues. So we are not threatening PCC, but that's the actual fact that is going to happen. Otherwise, let me continue to urge the residents, even if you haven't received the bills for the particular month, just go and deposit an average of 3.5, because that's what one is expected to be paying, especially in the western suburbs. That is a Malogi Chingapa. In the eastern suburbs, I think it's about 5,000 to 6,000. So we are urging the residents to pay the bills, but the bills that are reflecting a true picture of what is supposed to be paid, not bills that are miscalculated. So we thank these councillors for raising that in the chambers, and we hope the system that they are using to bill the residents is going to be rectified as soon as possible, so that the residents of Bulawayo get the bills that they are supposed to be getting, the actual bills or the actual amounts that are supposed to be getting, instead of these falsified ones. I think, if I'm not mistaken, last year the government, because remember at some point the government had issued some form of freezing when it comes to hiring by local authorities. But I think last year, if you remember well, we started to see some adverts being flighted on the media and so forth for different departments. So I think that ban was lifted, and now it's upon the Bulawayo City Council to employ the staff that they need, because I think that ban has been lifted since last year. The meter readers are there, but When one resident raised the issue saying the guys are not entering the yards, but they simply stand outside, if I'm not mistaken, it was the deputy mayor who responded by saying that they are now using the modern technology, that is remote sensing, together with the GIS and so forth, to pick up the meter readings while it's standing outside. So even if you see someone moving along your street, that person will be carrying a tablet. I think there was a pilot project, if I'm not mistaken, last year. I saw some other guy saying that they are trying to pick up the coordinates. It's a pilot program so that they can be able to read the meters from outside the yards. So maybe that may be the reason why we are no longer seeing these guys entering our yards. Because the GIS and the remote sensing is the in thing when it comes to technology, that is to read. But the challenge now is that whatever they are picking up, it seems, is raising our bills. Hence, the residents are now thinking of seeing that person physically. So these are just assumptions that I'm talking about. Maybe from what we have been hearing, it seems they are using the modern technology to pick up the meter readings. But
also there are some households that are still using the old meters.
Yes.
Old meters, yes.
So our old meters, we expect the guys to enter our yards. What we used to observe in the past is that whenever there is a gate, the guys, most of them don't bother to knock. They just assume that the gate is locked. Maybe there are dogs inside. I remember my yard is usually, the gate is usually closed, not locked but closed. And in most cases, my neighbor is the one who will tell them to get in. There are not dogs, but they would have assumed that they are dogs, and that's what they will be writing on their sheet, that the place was not, we couldn't enter because we were afraid of dogs. But that is not true. So we are urging those guys, whether if they are still there, to please enter all the yards. The households, they will be waiting for them. They will be there to assist them to read the meters. If there is anything that is the technology that they are now using, we expect the local authority to advise us as the residents, so that we know, instead of always being billed based on estimates, because most of the bills are estimated bills. Maybe that's why we have this challenge of high bills being sent to the residents, because when someone is estimating, he or she can put any number in the computer, and then at the end of the day you get such high figures. So we urge the Bulawayo City Council, if they are now using the modern technology, please advise the residents, use the respective councillors to go to the respective wards and inform the residents through public meetings or other forms of communication. These days we have got WhatsApp and so forth and so forth. Even the radio programs that they have, I think every, if I'm not mistaken, every Wednesday there's a program that they have as Bulawayo City Council. And if they are still using the manpower that they were using before, we expect to see those guys getting into our yards or into our households and reading the meters. It's not our duty to be reading the meters when there are people who are employed to do that. It means someone will be sleeping on duty. The water department or the engineering department or whatever the department is responsible for that, they have to pull up their socks so that the residents are not disenfranchised.
You can also participate in this program by sending us any service delivery challenges that you are facing in your area. You can send that information on the number appearing below the screen. Let's meet again in the next edition of Fix My City. My name is Lesley Moyo.